This is the fourth and final game in this set from Preptest 13. This whole test is really old, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all of these games are irrelevant. For example, the first game from this set is very relevant. It's an in-out game, but this game is actually kind of irrelevant. This is a really odd game. It's kind of tough, but I guess lucky for all of us, it's not all that relevant. I haven't seen very many games like this one in LSATs that follow this one. But anyway, let's get through this. The population of small countries organized in 5 clans. We got N, O, P, S, and T. So those are our 5 clans. Those sound like our game pieces. So let's write those down. So there we are. And each year, exactly 3 of the 5 participate in annual harvest ceremony. So it's also sounding like an in-out game, where every year you choose 3 of them to be in, and then of course 2 of them to be out. So the rules specifying the order of participation of clans are as follows. So how do you choose between the in and out? So this is where it gets weird. The first rule says each clan must participate at least once in any 2 consecutive years. So now we know we're talking about more than just 1 year plays, right? This is just a 1 year play. That's what our normal in-out games are, right? Which 3 are in, which 2 are out in any given 1 year. Now it's like, oh, this is one instance. Here's another instance that's repeated, right? So once we do this, and then maybe we do another a third year. And what happens in the third year, right? So that's what that first rule tells us. Okay, so let's write that down. In any 2 consecutive years, each clan must participate at least once. So if you sort of stop and think about this, you got 5 items right here. We're going to choose 3 to be over here, right? Let's say we choose N, O, and P to be here. So that means S and T are out. Well, if in any 2 consecutive years, each clan must participate at least once, that means whoever's out over here must be in over here, right? Because if you put either S or T out again, then they're out 2 consecutive years. That contradicts rule number 1. Right? So basically, it just means whatever you throw over here, you have to push them in over here the next year. And same thing over here, which means we have 2 guys out over here. And if you keep either one of them out again, then that's again 2 consecutive years that are out, and that's not okay. Which means whoever's over here gets thrown in over here. So that's sort of always the process as you go on. So that's sort of an important thing to realize. And it's hard to realize that because it's very subtly stated in the form of the first rule. So each clan must participate at least once in any 2 consecutive years. So I don't know how you want to write that. I sort of just remember that as the shape of it, the movement of it, the visual movement of it. That's kind of how I remembered it. But you can write this down in words. I guess at least once in 2 years or something like that, right? Okay, so 2. See, this is less important. It's more important that you figured out that it's this action that's happening, right? Okay, so 2 says no clan participates for 3 consecutive years. Okay, so max is 3. So if you have N here and N here again, this N has to go out over here, right? In the third year. So actually, let's add in a couple more lines because we're not really sure how many more there's going to be. And then we have participation takes place in cycles, with each cycle ending when each of the 5 clans participated 3 times. Only then does a new cycle begin. So they're defining what a cycle is, right? What's a cycle? So a cycle ends, right? The ending of a cycle is when each of them participates 3 times, right? So each 3x. So I'm thinking, well, okay, well, for each of them to participate 3 times, that's the minimum. That's the minimum number they have to participate. So, for example, if N participated like 10 times, and let's say N, O, P, and S all participated 10 times, and T's only participated twice, a cycle hasn't ended yet, right? It's only when T gets its last completion, the 3rd time, that's when we know a cycle ends. But then we read on and it says no clan participates more than 3 times within any cycle. So now not only is the minimum number of participation 3 times, the maximum is also 3 times. Which if the minimum is 3 times and the maximum is 3 times, that means it's equivalent to 3 times, right? That's just what it has to mean. So now let's do a little bit of math. We know we have 5 clans, right? And in each year, 3 of them are chosen. And we know that for all of the 5 clans, for each of the 5 clans, that they have to be chosen exactly 3 times. Minimum 3 times, maximum 3 times. Which means each time they're chosen, you demand a slot, right? So if they have to be chosen 3 times, you multiply with 3, and that's the number of slots that we must have in order to accommodate each of the 5 clans for 3 times, right? So then if we have 15 slots total that must be in the in group, and each iteration of it, each horizontal row of it, only gets 3 slots, then that means we need exactly 5 rows to get the 15 slots, which really just means each cycle we figured out to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? So that's just a veiled math problem that they had you do here. See if you could see if you can understand enough of the English to figure out the math behind it. So that's probably a huge inference. So, the inference here about pushing these two in, and then the inference about there being only exactly 5 iterations here to end a cycle. Those are the two big inferences. So at this point, we're ready to do the questions. Question 18 says if the clans participating in the first year are NOP, which from following could be the second year? So I'm going to write on this master game board. You have to copy this over. You can't write on your master game board. So just write it right next to question 18. So NOP, they're telling you, are the ones that are participating in the first year. So just quickly look over here, NOP, which means S and T are left, which means S and T over here. And now, they said you have to participate at least once in any 2 consecutive years. That means ST gets pushed in over here. So ST like this. And at this point, you're ready to look at the answer choices, because who's going to be in this last spot? Well, it's one of these 3 guys that gets pushed into this last spot. And then, which means, of course, the other 2 of these guys get pushed into these 2 spots, right? So that's how this configuration works. But you're free to choose from NOP which one you want over here, and just remember to put the other 2 over here. And then, of course, these other 2 get filtered in over here the next year, and then so on and so forth. The cycle continues, right? So just look for one with S and T, just S, just T, just S, just T, S and T, right? So that's why E is correct. Question 19 says, which of the following can be true about the clan's participation in ceremony? So what can be true? Just no additional information. So A says in 1, 2, and 3, participating in 1, 2, and 3. That's not good, because it contradicts rule number 2, where max is only 2. Oh, this says 3. It should say 2 years. Max is 2 years. No clan participates in 3 years. So I should have written 2 over here. So that's why A doesn't work. Similarly, B doesn't work, because you got 2, 3, and 4, and that's 3 consecutive years. You can't participate in 3 consecutive years. The rule says no clan participates for 3 consecutive years. C says O and S in 1 and 3. So this one, I have no idea. I'm just going to try to see if I can put O and S in 1, 2, and 3. So essentially, if you do this, right, something has to click for you here. This rule over here, max 2, right? You can't put either of O or S here, because if you do, you're gonna end up with a 3 consecutive O. Or if you put S here, you're gonna end up with 3 consecutive S, which really means both of them go out this way. So that kind of works. So then who's here? Well, just pick whoever you want to be here, really, for this last one. So let's just pick P, which means N and T are out over here. Okay, well then that means N and T get filtered in over here for these 2 years, and P is the one that keeps, right? Because O and S are out, and then of course P has this 2 consecutive thing going on. So we gotta toss P out over here, otherwise it's gonna run afoul of rule number 2. And then for N and T, you can pick one, whoever you want. So let's pick T to be in. So then N is out, right? Okay, but then next up, you see how T now has this 1, 2 run going, right? And it's about to run afoul of rule number 2. That means T's got to get kicked out over here in this next year, and then of course PN have to get kicked in. P and N over here. And then for O and S, it doesn't really matter which one you pick, so we can just pick a random one. Let's pick O, for example. So S gets kicked out over here. So then, of course, TS get filtered in this way, right? Because they were out, they have to be in now. And O's got this 2 consecutive run, which means O is out. Also because we already used up O 3 times, right? P's already used up 3 times, T's used up 3 times, S is used up 3 times. The only thing left is N. So we put that in over here. And of course, the last guy here is P. That's out. So yeah, everything seems to work out perfectly. So C looks really good. I would look at D and E, but you can work out proofs for D and E to show why they are to show what's wrong with them. But they're incredibly time consuming. And what I would really do is just look at D and E and be like, okay, if I have time at the end of it, I'll try to come back and prove D and E to be incorrect. But C already shows to be working. This is just a could be true. I've shown it to be could be true. This is a positive proof of C. Choose C. Move on to question 20. Question 20 says, any cycle for the ceremony must be completed at the end of exactly how many years? Well, we already figured that out. That was 5. That was this math inference that they had us make in the beginning. Question 21 says, which one following must be true about the clans in the first year? What must be true? For this question, what I would do is I would just look back at question 19. Look back at question 19, because this is one iteration of it. And if it's a must be true, it is true here. It must be true everywhere, so it is true here. Right? So the danger is, of course, running into a couple of answer choices that also match this, because you might just pick a could be true instead of must be true. But if we're able to eliminate all the rest and leave us with just one, then that certainly is a must be true because there's only one right answer choice. So what must be true? At most, 2 of them participate in the 3rd year. Right, so they're asking of the ones that participate in the 1st year. So of these 3, at most 2 in the 3rd year. And we look over here and we're like, yeah, O and S are the ones that are participating in the 3rd year. So you want to put a tilde next to it. You don't want to circle and be like, okay, that's the right answer choice. Moving on, because like I said, it could just be a could be true answer choice. We haven't shown all other instances of it. So at most you can just put a tilde, and hopefully we're able to eliminate the other 4. At which point you're able to choose A and move on. Right, so that's the strategy. Okay, and B says at least 2 participate in the 2nd year. That's completely false, right? You see, you can't have that because of that, because these 2 have to get pushed in this way. So it's at most 1 participate in the 2nd year. So we know that to be false. And all 3 participate in the 4th year. Again, that's not a must be true because we have 1 instance of it being false. So it's not a must be true. All 3 in the 5th year, also not a must be true. We have 1 instance showing that that's false. If this were a must be true, there would be no instances showing that it's false. And none participate in the 3rd year is also wrong because we have 2 participating in the 3rd year. So at this point, we can safely choose A and then move on to the next question. 22 says, if in a particular cycle NOS participate in the 1st year, what must be true? So same thing, copy down your master game board right next to your right next to your question, and I'm going to write it here, but you have to copy it down. NOS in the 1st year, so write that in, NOS over here. So NOS means PT are out, so PT are out this way. And then of course the next thing you do is you push both P and T in, make that inference, P and T both have to be in for the next year. I don't know who I'm choosing here, somebody, one of NOS has to be here, the other 2 go here. Let's take a look at the answer choices. What must be true? N participates in the 2nd and 3rd years. No, that doesn't, in fact that can't even be true because we're choosing N for 1. So if N is chosen for 2 and 3, that goes 1, 2, 3 in contradiction of rule number 2. So that's a must be false. O participates in 3 and 4. No, O, I mean, it just doesn't have to be true. We could choose O, right? I mean, of the 3 that we choose, we could choose O, in which case O actually cannot participate in 3, right? So this is definitely not a must be true. N, O both participate in the 3rd year. N and O this way, again, doesn't have to be true because we could choose O over here, put NS out over here, in which case O has to go out into 3, and NS have to get chosen over here for 3. So again, not a must be true because there is an easily demonstrable instance of it being could be false. D says PT both participate in 5. I have no idea. That's way too far. I just don't know. So I put a tilde next to this. And ST both participate in 5. Again, that's kind of far. I would put a tilde next to this, or rather put a tilde next to this. So these are the 2 that I would actually want to try. But before we look at this, there is a sort of a clever way to do it, and it's by referencing question 19, which is clearly filled out. Okay, so we're looking at question 19 now, and really, if you consider the 2 guys that were chosen out here, I'll use a different color for this. That was the NT and the NT over here. That's our PT, right? That the NT for 19 is our PT because those were the 2 that were out. If you look at that, you see they are repeated again. They are repeated again in the 5th year. That instance happens. Whereas for answer choice E, and it says ST both participate in the 5th year. So it's one of the ones that are chosen and one of the ones that are not chosen. It doesn't have to be. Right, the one of the ones that are chosen and one of the ones that are not chosen, oh, those 2 have to pair up over here. It doesn't have to be, right? It could have been these 2 that paired up over here. So that's sort of a quick way to decide that D is the right answer choice. You can just move on and then say like, well, if I have time, I'll come back and check ST, right? But really, the point is just that you just don't have to do that. We could work it out backwards too. We could put S over here. Let's put T over here, P over here. I don't know, let's say O over here. All right, PT and say N, we're choosing N. So OS are out, OS are in over here. We got 3 O's, O's out over here. And we got 2 N's, N already repeated. And then we can choose, say, I don't know, T over here, for example. So P's out over here, N and P both are in. We have to choose an S over here, and T over here, and N over here. And let's just make sure we don't run afoul of anything. So N, it goes 1, 2, 3. S goes 1, 2, 3. T goes 1, 2, 3. P goes 1, 2, 3. And O goes 1, 2, and 3. And we're good. See, in this instance, we did not have to choose. This is the sort of the falsifying of answer choice E. We didn't have to choose both S and T. But yeah, this is definitely not something you want to do on the actual question when you're under time conditions. 23 says if a particular cycle N, O, and T participate in the first year and O and P in the fourth year, then something about could be true in the third year except. So first you want to copy this game board over and just write in the new information. So we got NOT in the first year, which implies S and P are out, which really just implies S and P are in for the second year. And also O and P are in the fourth year, so that's fourth years over here, O and P over here. And then they want to know about the third year. Well, what about the third year? See, the thing that I sort of see is just the P's over here. Right? If you put P into the third year, then you got 1, 2, 3, 3 consecutive P's running afoul of rule number 2. So that's not good. So that means P has to be out over here. So, and then of course they're asking for an except, and they're sure except. P cannot be in the third year. 24 says, if in a particular cycle NOS are in the first year, OST in the third year, what must be true of something? So just write that in first. NOS, like that, in the first year, and OST in the third year. See, and I sort of see the same thing. Both O and S are running in danger of running afoul of this rule. So you can't put O and S in over here, which means they have to both be out over for year number 2. And NOS means PT were out in year 1, which means PT now have to be in for year 2, right? PT, and of course the last thing, since OS is out, we're choosing N over here. And so now we have OST over here, which means N and P are out over here. And if you just keep looking this way, NP must, since they're out, they must be in this way. And then look at the T's, right? You got the 2 consecutive T's. You can't have a third consecutive T over here, which means T is here. N has already been used up in all 3 situations, so N is out over here. So for this one, you're choosing either O or S, and of course the other of O or S goes out over here. But since this T is out, this T has to be in over in year 5, and you have the 1, 2, 3 T's now, right? And the other thing we're missing is the P, of course. So we got the 1, 2 P only, so T and P are both in, and then you just have the O S trading off over here, and the O S trading off over here. So that completes the full game board, all on the sort of recursively running these 2 rules together. So they're asking for could be the clan that participated in the 5th year. So we got to look for one that has the TP. So that's this guy right here. This guy, the T and the P. The rest of them just don't.